Hello and welcome to the FGU Car Special Edition, the United Mafia. You're with Alex and Yoni. Yoni, how are you feeling after this morning?
Mate, it's a tough one. Frustrating game. I'm sure. Like we almost had it, almost snatched it at the
Yeah,
end, offside by about this much, which is a bit frustrating. But
yeah.
tough one. What about you?
Arsenal. No, look,
Yeah,
I say Arsenal just to piss them off, and it's my ability to trigger people is impeccable. I don't understand like how Arsenal fans are getting upset at me. Like you won, you played us, you beat us at home. What does my opinion have to like? What? Who cares what I have to say?
yeah, yeah. Can I
You know what
tell
I
you by
mean?
the way? I think I told you this last week. I don't think Arsenal's been playing well, right? So I wasn't really too worried about the game. It was just depending on whether we kind of rock up and can win it. And honestly, I don't think they played well either. Like they created barely any chance until that last 7 minutes of the game. So
Yeah,
generally speaking, between like the 28th minute and the 91st or 92nd minute, whatever, they did nothing.
yeah, exactly. And we'll touch on it more later, of course. But we were pretty. I think as soon as the injuries happened, like we lost, like we had like three defenders go down. Well, we had Lindelof and Martinez go down. That's your two centre backs. We have to bring on Maguire and
Yeah,
Johnny
so we end up
Evans.
the game with one centre back pretty much because
I
Maguire's
mean,
down.
I don't know who was worse between him or Evans. To be fair, like we're
Oh,
playing a 35-year-old that was. I mean, I know we talk of the Sir Alex era, but Jesus Christ, we should be playing anyone from Sir Alex era at this stage.
so
Yeah, and we're still also, haven't obviously brought an Amrabat yet. Only Hoyland only had a cameo, but he looks good. Didn't really have a chance to start Region. Obviously, he only just got to the club, so we'll see how he goes as well as like the just the standing left back. So up against it, I'm not too like freaking out of the loss. It's at Emirates, and it was in the like last second after we nearly stole the game. So, and we weren't getting run through the midfield like we were against
yeah.
Tottenham or against Wolves or even like at start of the Nottingham Forest game. So not too concerning, but like I said, we'll touch on it later. I
The
want to
thing that
start
sucks
though.
though is,
Oh,
is just
go
that
on.
there's a break now. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like
I feel like that's good though with the injuries. It gives us at least a chance to, especially with the
with
likes of
Martinez
like
and Lindelof.
Martinez,
Mm.
Lindelof, Varane. I mean, Varane's out for a while anyway, but at least we'll give a chance as well for Amrabat, Reguilon to get fit,
And we
Hoyland
have a
to
chance
get
for
some legs
Maguire
under
to
him.
go and play for England and hopefully get injured. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. But
You really, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's its own issue. But like I said, we'll touch on that later. But we'll keep it not going to be like too long of an episode like our usual episodes are. But we've got a few things to talk about in United Land. We've been meaning to touch on it for a little while as a podcast as a whole, but figure we'll let the Mafia do it. Mason Greenwood, not
no,
Mount, but
no.
Greenwood.
Okay.
My fantasy foot, my FPL team is Mason squared. Yeah. But Yoni, so after a year and a half since the leaks of Greenwood doing what he did to his missus, finally United more so stumbled to a decision to slowly get him out of the club. We decided, like the club released a statement saying that basically, even though they feel that upon their own investigation, he's apparently done nothing wrong, they still felt that it was best for him to have his future elsewhere outside of United. What do you think of that decision? Just first and foremost.
I mean, it's obviously the right decision, but how they got there, the statement, everything around it was a joke. You can
Oh yeah,
down see that they wanted to keep him, like 100%. Like they wanted him to play and this and that. And the statement where they're like, "Oh, we believe he's done nothing wrong," and he takes ownership of his mistakes that he's made. So which one is it? Has he made a
yeah,
mistake or he's done
exactly,
nothing wrong?
exactly.
What do
What's
you
he done
mean?
wrong then?
Yeah. So clearly, like, yeah, it's a shit show. Like, it's a tough
Oh
situation for
yeah,
them. But them dragging the heels for like 6 months just didn't help. And then
since the
like I'm
charges
pretty
got
sure they
dropped,
were
yeah,
just leaking information, trying to like see where people stand and all that kind
like
of stuff. They
feelers.
probably leaked it at the wrong time. Like they also did this like when it's like peak World Cup women, like everyone's doing really well from the England team and everything like that.
Mm,
So it's actually like a terrible time if they were trying to suss out what people will think, and the
mm.
female team and this and that.
Well, and
So
also right before our season started, so it's kind of like just like we needed any more like sort of
puppets, months,
shit to
honestly.
worry about. Not only that, like the one thing that I haven't quite understood is that so apparently like the audio that we all know and we've all heard it, no really point in quoting it because it's it's what we've heard, what's available to the public is disgusting. But apparently that's like a 1 minute out of like a 12-minute audio clip, and apparently that it doesn't give the full context. That's according to United statement at least. However, the part that I don't understand is again, we know what we heard in the audio. Greenwood's saying most horrific things to his missus. What I don't get is, well, what's the context for him to have gotten to that point? For him to be saying, move your effing legs up. I don't want to have sex. I don't care what you want. I want to know how, okay, what's the context behind that? That's where I just feel like United are just sort of saving their skin. And I appreciate that the club's hands were tied. Once the charges were dropped, they're screwed because they can't sack him. Because people have been trying to compare it to the, Benjamin Mendy situations. But it's like Benjamin Mendy went to court. Like
Maybe had it worse. He went to jail as well, didn't he, for a little bit?
no, he didn't go to jail. No, that was Danny Alves. No, Mendy just went to
Oh,
the same court case. And
yeah,
Alves is in jail. Like Alves is his own thing, but I mean he's in Mexico, so that's its own problem. But like Mendy went to court. He went through the legal system. I don't know how he's suing City to try and get his wages back, which is fair enough. But like Mendy went through the whole legal system. We always say trust the legal system, and we did that with Mendy. Greenwood never even got there, and then people are trying to say he's innocent. I mean,
oh.
legally, yeah, he is, but like
Charges
he's
were
not.
dropped. Charges were dropped.
It's like they were dropped, but like, I mean, how many times have we heard cases of like, DV victims, like being coerced? Maybe there was money involved. They probably realized that if she just shuts up, she can be set for life with this bloke. They're having a kid. I know, like, oh, they're having a kid, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything. I mean, it makes things
Look,
worse. I
chances
feel
are
so
she
sorry for the
probably at
kid.
this point have forgiven him and moved on, but it doesn't
Yeah,
make it doesn't change what he's done and make it okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the one thing, and people look, I get the need, the appreciation to want to rehabilitate someone, of course. But look, me personally, taking my United hat away from it, taking my quote unquote woke beta male hat away from it, apparently, according to some in the group, good riddance. But you can rehabilitate your life away from football. Playing professional football in the Premier League for Manchester United, that's a privilege. He's not entitled to do that. I
Yeah,
know
he's
we've had
representing the club, and I mean
he's had Ryan
the
Giggs to be
club
fair.
does a shit job representing
Yeah,
itself,
it
but
does.
the last thing they need is that too.
Exactly, especially these days. And I thought as well, like my initial reaction when this was all going on was, well, okay, what's the women's? We've got a women's team. Like, what are they going to think? What would Alatoon think? What would Mary Earps think? Girls like that. Alicia Russo, lifelong Man United girl, left to go to Arsenal, and not to sort of like be conspiratorial, but part of me thinks, did she maybe feel disgusted by this? I don't know. I could be completely wrong, but it's something that is worth considering, especially given because the funny thing is he's now gone to Getafe. We've loaned him because that's all we can do. And just mentioned it earlier, obviously off camera, but funny how he's gone to Spain, given what's been going on there.
Yeah, it's been pretty hectic. Yeah, it's a bit ironic, but it'll be interesting to see what happens a year down the track if Man U then thinks, maybe we're gonna get rid of Sancho. Anthony's been playing
Oh God, I
shit.
hope we don't get
Somebody
rid of
can play the
Sancho,
right
man.
wing.
I hope we don't get rid of Sancho
Wait,
for
after
that.
today.
Well, not only that, well, yeah, but also like, look, the one thing that I'm wondering though is we've given Greenwood's number to Hoyland, number 11.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, our trend of number 11s typically is wife beating, with Ryan Giggs and Mason Greenwood. So hopefully Hoyland's a good boy. But that's what I was going to ask you. Like, do you think we will reintegrate Greenwood like in a year's time? Do you think people will
I
figure
think
that
they'll
out?
try. I think they'll try.
Then
If the
what?
Glazers are still there
Oh
and
God.
like Rich and Arnold and all that kind of stuff, I think they'll try.
Or Ten Hag too, because apparently Ten Hag, and this is where I'm a little bit because you know how much I like Ten Hag,
Yeah.
but he wanted Greenwood back, and again, I just
But the question is
can't
as well, like
forget what I heard.
maybe he did, which is shit. But if the other like position it could be is that he's like, I just want to win, which I know is terrible. Like if that's the case, and he's like, I've one striker, then I got Martial, who's pointless. Like it would be good to have that option, but I'm not saying that he did. I'm not saying he didn't. If he did, it's terrible, regardless of the reason. But yeah,
the thing though is that like even if we did still stick by the initial decision and stick with Greenwood, is he hasn't played football in a year and a half and he hasn't trained. Or if he has trained, it's been a little bit on his own. He would not have been able to have played this season. He would not have been nowhere near ready. He would have been rusty. He would have been unfit.
yeah.
So there is that too. And the other thing as well is the PR. I mean, like, that's where I'm actually surprised because look, if United's conscious of anything, it's business and PR. Like our social media team work heaven and earth to try and smooth over results. I don't really know how we would have done some sort of PR swing had we integrated him, especially with
I think the question is whether they think like that, like having him as an asset is more beneficial than the negative feedback. Like, what if the negative feedback happen? Like the bad PR, we lose like 10 million in value or whatever. I don't know. But then having him, and then he plays well, and you sell him for like 40 million. Then it's kind of like, well, you made a 30 million kind of like that's actually a 50 million
that's
swing.
A big profit. Yeah, it's a big profit. I get that. I guess it's also more so because I also do think as well, and our man Reggie pointed this out, is imagine playing him in England with the most like creative chances, like what they could be coming up with. I would have hated to have seen that. Did you personally want him back at the club?
No.
You can't unhear it. Yeah, I'm with you there. Do you think as well?
Oh, we also have enough right wingers, like unrelated, but no. Obviously,
well, I think the plan was always to play him striker because I still maintain he was never a winger because he never passed the freaking ball in the first place.
To any of us,
we've already got Rash. That's the same. We've already got enough wingers that hog the ball, especially Rashford. Like, do you want two blokes on either wing just not passing it to Højlund? He would have been bloody beating them up himself. Do you think? Part of me reckons, because I think his contract's for 2 more years, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it's quite a lengthy and lucrative contract, which complicates things further. But obviously, I know that we loaned him out, and that's all we can really do because teams probably know that we can't. The teams know the position that we're in.
Yeah, do you think and apparently we pay like 80% of his salary still.
I think it's 50-50.
According
to Reggie, that's according to Fabrizio. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought Fabrizio said 50%. And Jesse's not here, so I'm going to quote Fabrizio Romano. But do you think, because part of me thinks we're just probably going to be buying time till his contract runs out, then just let him go, then he's no longer our problem. That's part of what I think. I don't know if you are in the same boat.
I don't know, because what happens in 2 years' time? Are they going to say, we still have commitment to this player, like in regards to rehabilitation and blah, 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 even though like, they don't have commitment to other players who they let go, like they don't give a shit about. So,
is it our commitment though, like to tell someone to not assault their wife or their missus? Is that really is that like our job? I know he's been like a lifelong United.
Look, it kind of is that thing.
Are we babysitting him?
As a club, look, I do think there's a bit to it where the club should, because don't forget, they're getting these kids when they're like really young. They don't go to college. A lot of them don't finish high school because once they hit 16, like this is their whole thing, like the whole life.
The team,
So it's not like the USA where they go to college, they're 21, 22, and then they go and have a rookie contract. These people start like 6 years earlier than that. So I do think that there's definitely like some form of education that needs to happen from the club. If especially like if you're a big club and you got a player who you're bringing on board and they've been in your academy for like 10 years, whatever the case is. But yeah.
No, that's fair enough. Why do you think then we backflipped on the decision? Because again, like the league's always saying that we were going to bring him on. Like, what was the?
Because people have said that they'll stop supporting United. I don't think
Rachel
Riley, apparently like staff members were happy to like quit, like if he comes back and all that.
Really?
Kind of stuff. Yeah, there was heaps of stuff.
I didn't hear that.
Oh, I heard that too.
Really? I didn't hear about that. That's
cool. So
that's
there was a lot,
like stuff as in
like
all the chefs,
like Man United stuff, like canteen people and this and that. Like,
Ronaldo thinks they've been around for too long anyway. So no, I get what you're saying. No, that makes sense. But like, did they not force? That's where I just get a bit confused. Like,
They're
did they not
dumb.
foresee that?
They're dumb.
Like, did they really not foresee the reaction? Like,
But and again, that's what I was telling you. It could be potentially they've thought, yes, there will be bad PR, but long term it'll be fine. And maybe that kind of made them realize, actually, I guess
but it's
not.
just surprising that we don't go for the PR angle, given like our reputation. Like that PR is normally our thing. We're just always
Yeah,
ready
but
to
as I
PR,
said,
but
he's an asset, and there was a point that they thought he's worth 100 million. It's very easy to
he
say.
probably
It's
was. The
very
guy
easy
was
to say, oh, the PR would be bad, but do you think you're going to lose 100 million with that PR? Probably not. So, especially at
yeah,
the moment where they've doubled in price over the last year because everyone thought that they were going to sell them.
yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, I guess you're right because he was the best youth product we've probably had since probably the class of '92. To be honest with you, like just how good he was as a youngster. I mean, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer called him the best finisher at the club, and that's why we
I
had
mean,
players like.
I guess we had Cavani and Ronaldo at the time.
Well, that's it. Well, I think before Ronaldo, but we had before. But even like with Cavani there, Cavani, Rashford, Martial, Solskjaer was like, this guy's the best finisher at the club, and the guy could finish. The guy could find the bottom corner like no one else. It's just a shame that he did what he did. And like I said, it's different to other cases. Like I know there's been like I know like my mate Ronaldo, I know he had his case against him, but that was like just an accusation that kind of never really went anywhere, and we don't have clear cut evidence. Like I said with Greenwood,
Yeah.
like it was a drop charge, possibly due to coercion, and we heard it. Like I know what I heard. Most people know what they heard. And it's just another case of like a pro athlete and a rich bloke getting away with something heinous. But good luck to him. I miss having him in my FIFA career mode at United. He gets very overpowered, so I'm gonna miss that. But hopefully we can move on. But look, moving away from Mason Greenwood, because for now that saga is done. Let's talk about United as a whole. Our season, it's been a very up and down in the most literal sense. 2 wins, 2 losses. Scrappy win, fortunate win against Wolves. Sounding defeat to Tottenham. A very impressive, somewhat comeback win against Nottingham Forest, and then this morning a respectable defeat to Arsenal. But what have you thought? What are your thoughts on our season so far?
So, I mean, I'm going to break it down. Against Wolves,
You got strong opinions on this. You're very strong about this.
yes. Pre-season, one thing straight away, pre-season, we played Sancho as a false 9, and then we don't play him at all in the first 4 games, pretty much. So that makes no sense to me. Like, if you're going to play him as a false 9, and, therefore we had Rashford on the left, Rashford was playing on the left, we didn't need him in the middle. Then, for the first 2 games, you're playing Rashford down the middle, which makes no sense because he hasn't actually done a preseason there. So, of course, it's not going to work out.
And everyone knows Rashford can't play striker. Yeah. He sucks. He sucks.
First game, we were shit. Like, first game against Wolves, we were actually shit, right? Against Spurs, we were the better team in the first half, and then second half, Spurs were the better team. Unfortunately, we couldn't finish. We had a lot of chances. We couldn't finish. Spurs finished theirs. All right? So it sucks, but that game was a lot more 50-50. At the end, Spurs did deserve to win, but it was a lot more 50-50 than people are saying. Then the Nottingham Forest game, that one shits me because people are like, oh, you're shit, you got lucky. Forest had 6 minutes in the beginning, or 4 minutes in the beginning, and about 7-8 minutes at the end where they were the better team. So 15 minutes of the game, Forest were the better team. And for the other 75, and I'll say 90 because of all the extra time that there was, United was the better team. And we, like, the second we considered that second goal, we started creating chances after chances after chances. So it's not like United played bad. Like, they actually played good game. Bruno was everywhere. Like, really, he was everywhere that game. So in regard to that, I thought it was a good game. And then the Arsenal game, I think neither team played well. Like, so it doesn't matter whether we won, they won. I think if we scored,
it wasn't
against,
a shootout. It was quite cagey. It wasn't really.
If Garnacho's goal stands, right, and we win, people would say, "Oh, United played amazing. Like, they had the best plan. Blah blah blah. Good on you. Eric Ten Hag is amazing, etc." But it was that marginally offside that, in my opinion, like I thought they said that it's going to be different now. It's going to be like if your feet, or I don't know.
Maybe it's not in the Premier League. Maybe not in the Premier
I
League.
don't know. They're
Doing that
Muppets. They're
leeway rule.
Muppets.
That's
Plus,
the real problem.
I don't even trust the referees. And then and then they score two. Look, I don't think there's a foul on Evans. I'm not gonna say that.
I was
that
reaching when I was having to go at people about it. I was
yeah.
But Evans had him first, I think.
Oh, you know what annoys me though? Everyone's like, "Oh my god, this is why they bought Rice." Blah blah blah. It's a fucking deflected shot. Like it's not like he fucking belted it into the top left corner.
No, exactly. It was just a fortunate
and
shot.
then went in. Yeah.
It was a very, very, very fortunate shot.
Yeah, but yeah, it is what it is. We lost, like, and now the story is different. It's like, oh, United's shit because they didn't win. But if Garnacho's goal stand, we'd be like, oh, 9 points out of 12. It's actually really good. That
Or if we just hold out for a draw, which is probably what we were doing afterwards because we kept trying to foul him early on. The other thing, because it's like, oh, you got a result at the Emirates. The one thing I haven't really understood is that I've seen people talking about Onana, and I'm like, what the fuck is Onana? What did Onana do wrong?
They're saying his reaction time's a bit slow, but like he can't do anything about that Rice goal. Like it gets deflected, and he gets his hand to it.
And the Odegaard goal, he couldn't do anything about either. That was a rocket.
The annoying thing about the Odegaard goal, like I swear it was like 3 minutes into the game, there was a situation where Odegaard, like no one was with him, like and
so Martinelli
runner went in. Yeah. So it's kind of like it was almost an identical goal to what it was in the first minutes, and then
and the last goal was like we got done.
Nobody cares about the last one. Yeah.
Well,
nobody cares.
We got done. Like I didn't get it, and like I saw a thing like how who was that posted about like Onana's like already conceded like 7 or 8 goals. And
yeah, they said 8, which is incorrect because it's 7, but
Oh no, which isn't much better. But it's like none of the goals are really his fault. Like number one, he kept us in the game against.
Look, the first goal he got.
Okay, sorry, the first goal.
Yeah.
Oh no, look, what he did was embarrassing. But we're also exposing him, like we're exposing him one-on-one. Like the guy's getting exposed.
Yeah, but at the same time, like we talk about how he's like a sweeper keeper and he blah 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 blah. Like he actually kept him like tracking back there rather than like
that moment was strange.
So that was
strange. But then everything else, like and again, like now everyone's saying, oh, you should have kept De Gea. But literally for the last 3 years, all we heard was you got to get rid of De Gea. He can't play.
It's damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation with Man United.
You can't have it both ways. And like people are going about De
Gea. You could have 2 number 1 goalkeepers.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot about Arsenal's centre defensive goalkeeper. Like Ramsdale was any freaking better. He was crap too. He nearly gave away a couple of goals too, but that's beside the point. But like and everyone's going back to shot stopping, and like that was his best attribute. But like I said, after the FA Cup final, I said his shot stopping's been shit, and the moment he can't stop shots, he's useless because he can't.
That's the thing. Like, look, I love De Gea, and I'll defend him until I fucking die.
Yeah,
but you can't even say De Gea would have definitely saved that Onana, like the Rice goal, because we've seen De Gea let that in literally last game of last season.
It was deflection from the 6-yard box. No keeper was going to save that. It's just a chaotic goal. Like I just think today was probably a fault of, well, if anything, the fault's been the midfield, and that's where what I was going to ask about actually was our transfer activity, because I love the fact that we've got Amrabat. I think that's really going to change our midfield and finally stop letting us get exposed so much. But typical United, the bloke's been waiting to join us since June, and we do it on deadline day.
And then people tell you, it can't be the Glazers or Richard Arnold. It has to be Ten Hag. Like, this is what he gets. Like, last season was the same. We didn't do anything until we lost the first 2 games. And then they were like, let's get Casemiro, let's get Anthony, even though they should have got Anthony 3 months earlier.
Yeah. And we would have got him for cheaper if we did it earlier.
Yeah, 30 mil less. And then now it was like, oh, we can't afford Amrabat. We can't afford Amrabat. And then last day they're like, all right, we'll do Amrabat. So, like, what do you want Ten Hag to do there? Like, this is literally how useless like our board is. Like, and I have no, like, they did well in regards to getting Mason Mount. I don't think we need him. And if he fails, that'll be because of Eric, because he wanted him. So I'll put that on Eric if we don't do well. But it's too early to judge. It's 3.
Yeah, well, he played 2 games and he got injured. Then he got injured. So
they got Onana again. That will be Eric's fault if it doesn't work out, but I assume it will work out. And then we got Hoyland, and he's been injured. He literally just came, so give him time.
Hoyland looked all right. Hoyland, it was
Yeah.
like good to see a striker make a run and
Yeah.
like sprint. That's been nice.
But it was really great to see Rashford not pass him the ball when he should have.
Yeah, I done that. Oh my god, we had it was a Gabriel 1-on-1. Yeah, don't talk to us. It's a standard Rashford. I love Rashford, but god damn, pass the ball. But that's the other thing as well. He's like last year Ten Hag's a savior. Now he's the problem. Like I know that like he's maybe got egg on his face with the whole Sancho thing and even like the way we bummed off De Gea and Ronaldo and things like that. But like I don't understand how like it's just fucking football, man. The way everyone just flip flops because last year he's the best thing to have ever happened to the club, and then now this year is like always on the knife's edge. And like you followed United your whole life. I've followed United my whole life. The last 10 years, Moyes is the problem. Van Gaal was the problem. Mourinho was the problem. Oli, Ragnick. Now Ten Hag's a problem. But what's been the common denominator? The Glazers.
I think we all know that we've also like apparently we haven't been saying it enough that it's the Glazers.
But, literally protesting. Like we were protesting for the last like what? But, we're begging for them to sell the club, and now that there's reports they might not sell, we're going into meltdown.
I reckon. So, I watch a lot of.
I don't know.
Gary Neville and Goldbridge both reckons it's still going ahead. Like a week ago, we got a thing saying, "Oh, it's going to happen in October. It's a done deal," and suddenly a week later, it's like, "Ah, we're not going to sell." I don't. You just can't trust anything. You can't like. The Glazers are Muppets. The devil. And you just don't know what's going to happen. Like
no, exactly, and it's upwards of £6 billion. It's a lot of money. A lot of money ain't going to be moved around.
And they're not going to get 10. Like I reckon the way we're going, right? Like if even Ten Hag can't fix it, and like if the Glazers come up now and say, "Oh, we're going to stay," I reckon shares go down. Like not to the amount that they went up, obviously, but they'll go down because people just like Glazers know this. That I mean, they're dumb, but they're not dumb. Like. They know people don't want them there.
They're businesses. They're businessmen. Yeah. They're not like they're switched on.
There's a reason as well that they haven't shown their faces or done anything during this time. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And this is going to sound a little bit strange, but I think the best plus worst thing to have happened to us was making the Champions League because that made our price go up because we are a Champions League club. That adds value because we had a good season last year. And there was this feel good factor around Ten Hag, around the players. Everyone thought like that sort of like upped our value. But I mean, also as well, it's Man United. The club's always been valued. Like, I mean, I think second to Real Madrid and Barcelona, next to Real Madrid and Barcelona, we're the biggest club in the world. So
the other thing is
problematic.
I will say that everyone's calling it like a catastrophe. 6 from 12. Same as last season. We were 6 from the first 12.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like we're slow burners. It seems like we don't do a preseason, and we'll see.
No, I think we actually did too hard of a preseason with all the travel and everything. Like they just looked
a lot of games. We played a lot of preseason games.
Yeah,
that's potentially the case. Yeah, look, I agree. But let's just go on to some quick little, I suppose, roundups as to the season so far. Who has impressed you so far in the team?
Interesting. I think probably Wan-Bissaka.
I was about to say Wan-Bissaka too. I think he's been great. And he normally would be keeping Dallo out of the side if it wasn't for the fact that Dallo is now pinch hitting at left back.
Yeah.
I was going to also say Onana. I love his confidence, and I think he'll grow. And I like that he's kind of like just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. The issue we have at the moment is that like with Onana, he gets his passes across, but then like we just lose the ball straight after.
So that's the thing. We don't know how to play possession. That's the thing that we need to learn how to do. Who do you think needs to? And you can list a bunch of players. Who do you think needs to step up the most?
Oh, Anthony. Just honest to God, mate. Do something. Like this is. I get so annoyed because I really think like Sancho at Dortmund on the right was a gun. I'm not saying it will be a gun now. You don't know. But just that Anthony gets so many chances and then Sancho doesn't even get like to jump on the field. Like it's so annoying because if he played like the millions of games that Anthony played last season and the beginning of this season, maybe he would gain form. You know, like he can't do any worse than what Anthony's been doing.
Yeah,
Like he literally cannot do worse. So Anthony would be one. Fucking everyone. Rashford.
yeah,
I think Eriksen's been good since he's been on, even though he lost his man today. But Eriksen in general has been good for the two games.
yeah.
Um,
It's hard to rely on him too much
Martinez
as
and
well. The guy's old.
Martinez hasn't really done much
No, he
yet.
hasn't either.
Yeah, I'm hoping
But now
he.
he's injured.
Yeah,
He hasn't been the same player since last year. Like, it hasn't been as switched
yeah,
on. I think Varane was good up until his injury. I think
yeah,
Varane's been
yeah.
great.
Varane's been good.
You know, exactly. I was gonna say the one thing with Sancho and Anthony as well is that, like, Sancho is probably like one player where he knows how to play intricate and unlock defenses, and that's one thing we don't have. And we just mentioned how we have like too many wingers that hog the ball. It's painful having both Rashford and Anthony playing at the same time because they just do not know how to create for the striker, especially if we're going to start trying to implement Hoyland in. It's going to be painful. That's where I feel like Sancho, not and you know, the Hoyland Haaland comparisons gets cringe after a while, but we saw how good Sancho worked with Haaland
Yeah,
at Dortmund. Like, this is where we're going to get this. We've got this striker now.
and
Let's
you
get
know
the
what?
player that can work with him.
You know how he had that little flick that led to Garnacho's goal or whatever. Like
Yeah, that was good.
that's the kind of thing that I think would work really well with Sancho because Sancho was really good at the small little passes and running off
One
the
touch in
yeah.
between.
So
Yeah,
I can see that working really well if they did play together. And he's quick,
yeah,
so Sancho will like say if they do like a little one-touch flick kind of thing like that, and he runs, Sancho will find him. Um,
exactly. Like,
but
I know
yeah,
that like Anthony is good for his speed because he's obviously a lot faster than Sancho, and Sancho isn't fast and he's
yeah,
more
he's not
intricate. But like,
kind of
do we
like
not want to be
Mata
playing
in a way.
possession? Yeah, but and do we not want to be playing like that little intricate possession style? Because like, you know, like that's what we want to do. Because our problem is that like we can't unlock defenses. Teams are just not going to run up against us because they're not dumb enough to let Rashford and Anthony get behind them. So like we need to start breaking teams down. That's what Sancho is good for. Because if we can't do that, we're just gonna rely on Bruno trying to ping balls across, which has its success at times, but it's not a sustainable way to play football. Um, One last thing, just quickly, like this little, like I said, very up and down start to the season. Are you scared for the remainder of the season? Like, are you worried about our prospective chances for top four and in the competitions, or do you think this is just a speed bump?
I mean, top four was always going to be tough, I think, like at this point. And it's not because we got worse or whatever, like which we have obviously, but it's more
It's not as
like
bad as Chelsea.
well, I think
So
Chelsea will
I have
come
to throw a
good.
dig in there.
Liverpool, we saw it at the
They
end
look
of
good.
last season, and then we're seeing it now, even though like obviously the referees helped them today. Man City is Man City. I still don't think Arsenal's looked good, but
They look
they
good
are getting
enough
results.
to
I'm more
be.
worried about fucking Brighton. Oh my
Yeah.
lord.
Well, because I was concerned about Newcastle pipping us for third, but Newcastle have been a bit.
Are they like
I mean,
bottom of the table? Like they've got like
well,
3 points, right?
yeah, and like they should not have lost to Liverpool as well, especially like to Liverpool losing Van Dijk.
Yeah.
And you know, we saw like what is like Eddie Howe will be heading home. If you catch the pun, because Saudis behead people.
Oh, lol.
So, because they were chanting that to him, but
I
no,
was like,
especially
what are you
after
saying?
that's no, because that's what the Brighton fans were chanting to Howe, and yeah,
Oh, lol.
Brighton look great.
So
Brighton
good.
look really good.
Ferguson's a year older and it looks good. I know it's only been a couple of games he's played, but he's looked good.
Joao Pedro
I mean,
looks
even
good.
fucking Spurs looking good. That's
Spurs
the
look really good, man.
yeah.
And the way they just um like I'm gonna watch the game against Burnley, and I mean every game's a goal fest, but they don't care. And it's the way they're just carving through teams. Like the amount of times Madison has been an absolute revelation for them, but the way that they're just Madison's constantly getting in on goal, Son's looking revitalized. It's funny, like I said this in our last episode, everyone for Spurs is playing well, but Richarlison. So I think that speaks volumes as to
Well, Son played
that
as a
situation.
striker, scored a hat trick. So
Yeah, and well, Son's back because Son was so bad last season, but now he looks great. So that's the problem with our top four aim is there's so many like good teams now to compete with.
yeah.
Obviously, we had Arsenal, City, then you've got
And the
Liverpool,
injuries
Spurs,
are
Brighton.
not helping us.
No, not at all.
Like
We're
the
gonna be
Muppet that was like, oh, tactical like genius by subbing on the two center backs. I'm like, are
it's
you
like, yeah.
kidding me? Like
Why would he want? Why in
we
that
have two
situation would
injured
he
center
want
backs. What do
to?
you want him to do?
Yeah, I know. In what I know, like people can question some of Ten Hag's decisions, but in what mind would he be in to have wanted to have ended up the game with Maguire and Evans? Like, why would
Yeah.
he not want to? Why would he waste two subs on centre backs when he could have like brought on like more attacking options or someone just to shore up the
Well, he
midfield?
didn't
Like,
have any
that's
other
so
attacking
stupid.
options because he didn't put even Sancho on the bench.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh God,
yeah.
that's the same
He
problem.
had
But
no, yeah.
we'll discuss that in further detail. I think like in a later episode, maybe like later this week once we have more details because it's quite interesting. But look, we'll see how we go. I'm curious for our first Champions League game. I'm not sure who it's against. I hopefully think we can finish seconds behind
It's gonna be
Bayern.
it'll be tough because
But yeah, I don't know, man.
Galatasaray will be tough too. Like
Well, Gala's got a nice
they
team.
got Zaha, Icardi.
Yeah,
Like
and like playing is a fucking nightmare. Like we've seen how nightmarish the stadium is, and look, I'm worried with the way we're playing, and also with the injuries we have and the lack of depth. I'm worried how we're going to go in multiple competitions.
yeah,
I'm worried we're going to crash out of the Champions League. I hope to God if we get out of the Champions League, we just finish fourth. I don't care. I'd rather that than end up in the Europa League again.
yeah,
I'm sick of
yeah.
Monday mornings, and I just think we should really be above that. I know that sounds entitled, but like for God's sake, we got to start aiming for things. But we'll see how we go.
Yeah, I'd rather like
Hopefully,
if it
hopefully
happens,
it's
we
just a
get out
blitz.
of it, and then we just
Yeah,
have FA Cup in the league. Like just focus
yeah,
on that because then at least
yeah,
it's one game a week until you have the FA Cup, and it's a bit.
yeah. Because I know that we said in our pre-season thing with Adam that we would like to be the knockouts for Champions League. But I mean, look, if we can't finish second behind Bayern, because the group isn't too difficult. Like it's not like what Newcastle got. So, like realistically, we should be finishing second. But if we're not, then just you know what I mean.
The
Like it's
sad
like
thing is
either
that we're saying like
make
we
it or
should
don't.
finish second. Like we can't even like because of the last 10 years, we can't even say we should be finishing first. Like, and
Look, I would say that if we
Bayern
had a
are
different
guns,
group, but it's Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich are looking great right now with Kane. So
but in the Fergie days, he wouldn't say, "Oh, we should finish second." Like he would say, "We're gonna beat them."
yeah, I know, but sometimes you just have to be realistic. I mean, we can't beat
Yeah,
Tottenham. We can't beat Tottenham or Arsenal.
I
Good
just
luck
can't
beating
wait to
Bayern
see
Munich.
Harry Maguire like actually like destroy Harry Kane.
He can't get near him. He can't get near anyone. Let alone Harry Kane is not even that quick, but he can't get near anyone. Harry
Can
Kane's
you
going to have a
imagine him
field
against
day.
like Musiala, Nabry, Sane?
Come on.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, that's where hopefully, like the one thing I'll just quickly just finish on is hopefully with our signings, like I said, the one hope that I really have is Amrabat. We should have got him forever ago. That's the same fucking problem. But I mean, this is a very transformative player. Good on the ball. Can either play next to Casemiro or play instead of Casemiro if Casemiro needs a break. You can play multiple different roles, multiple different styles. Covers the ground. We saw how good he was for Morocco. The guy was running everything. So hopefully that's going to be like the protection that we need, especially given that we don't have any centre backs of any worth right now. So hopefully now it's like, okay, because previously when we had shit centre backs, we had shit CDMs too. But now at least the shitty centre backs that we may be forced to play will at least have some sort of protection.
I'm also hoping that in some games we can use him rather than Casemiro to give Casemiro that break. But yeah,
exactly. Yeah, but it depends, like obviously which team.
it'll be good when Mainu comes back, hopefully,
He
because
looks good.
I
So,
think
yeah.
the three of them, well, and Mount will interchange a lot. So
Yeah, but also do think as well, like the one good thing about Mount, I suppose, that'll give Bruno a break because we can't have Bruno play 70, 90-minute games again like last season. We just can't. Like I don't care how fit he's been throughout his whole career. That's unsustainable. We can't be risking him just doing anything wrong.
yeah.
But we'll leave it at that. Quick one today, but thank you so much for tuning into the United Mafia, guys. Let us know what you think. Let us know what further you want to listen to. I think we will be back probably this week, I believe. Us two and Reg. I believe Jesse's on holiday for a couple of weeks, so not going to make any comment on that, but enjoy your holiday, Jesse. Otherwise, we'll speak to you guys soon. Do you have anything else that you want to add, Yoni?
Peace.
Good luck. Take care, guys. Have a good one.
See ya.